So far, so good.
Yep.
We'll see how long it lasts. Welcome back, everybody, to Outside the Cinema, your weekly source of cult movie discussion. Dude, my allergies already.
Oh, really?
Like, just a couple of days of, like, decent weather and, like, everything is just like, hey, fuck off.
Yeah, it's today and tomorrow, something like that. It's gonna get warm, so that's not gonna be good for us. Yeah, 63, 72, 66, 74, 83. Today through Friday.
Yeah, good. Good, great, wonderful. Actually, it's great. We got tons of baseball coming up, so the weather, having the nice weather will be good.
That is good, yeah.
Apologies, I'm drinking my breakfast while we're doing this. So.
You drink. I drank my breakfast too. It was clear and brown, but it was still a drink.
I mean, this is a banana, a scoop of peanut butter, a scoop of protein powder, and oat milk.
Okay.
So it actually tastes pretty good, though.
Huh.
So it is what it is.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the show this week, everybody. Glad to have you here. Got a couple movies this week. What are we doing this week?
The Cat.
El Gato.
Bad Milo. Yes, but it's in Korean.
It's a Korean movie.
Oh, so good. I did watch the right one. Okay.
All right. Yes, you did. El Gato. I don't know how to say it in Korean. And Bad Milo. Duplass Brothers produced, starring Ken Marino, which is a film that somehow I just completely missed. And it's got all kinds of people in it that I like. So who knows?
Yeah.
I got an email. Hold on, let me open this up no, it wasn't an email. It was on the Facebook group. And of course, now I don't have that open in front of me. Shit. I don't know. One of our listeners it will let us know if there's sound issues going on. And he made a joke about the sound issues from last week.
Nah.
And I really
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
I don't have it in front of me now, though, unfortunately.
So that's why people need to get in the Facebook group, because we're still doing that.
Yeah, because I'm not bright enough to remember to open it beforehand, and everything's working right, so I don't want to mess with anything.
Right.
But it's funny because I opened up like a whole bunch of like different audio stuff for the show, and now it's the type of thing where like everything is going nicely. Hopefully it'll stick that way.
Yep.
But Korean film The Cat this week, which I think will be interesting to talk about. We haven't done a whole lot of Korean cinema recently. And the Bad Milo flick about the Native American butt demon. I wish I was joking. That's what it's about. That's what it is. It's what it's going to be.
Yeah, it is.
So, Patreon followers, we got some Patreon shows coming up. We're going to start those beginning of May. So if you're one of our Patreon members and have not sent us some film titles to cover, please do so. We've been gathering them up. We are doing the commentary shows. I know I've been talking about them forever, and I could use a few more suggestions. We've got a decent amount, but we could use a few more suggestions from the Patreon community for those, because I'd like to line up have us do at least 2 of them in a day. So, and I also kind of want to be able to mix it up so it's not so terrible for us to have to like do these just like soul-crushing movies back to back or something like that. So
yeah.
So all that stuff's coming. We got music shows available on the Patreon. If you would like to sign up for the Patreon, it's patreon.com/outside the cinema. We offer you guys for the $5 monthly donation film suggestions. You can get into our show archives, which is thousands of hours of entertainment, all of our episodes going all the way back to episode 1. Exclusive music shows. The old music shows are in the archive, and then the newer music shows are exclusive on the Patreon page. So if you can't find them or you miss them, you can just search music. I always tag them music and they show up. But yeah, we try to give you guys a bunch of stuff. We're going to do commentaries, and we're going to be doing picks. We got a whole bunch of stuff coming up in May and throughout the summer.
Yeah.
Also want to plug the funding campaign for on Seed and Spark for The Wound Within, which is the new horror short that Kai and I will be shooting in June, hopefully. Head over to Seed and Spark and search Wound Within. We've got about 2 weeks or so left on that, I believe, at the time of recording. We are creeping our way to the goal, but we are not there yet. And if you guys like original horror, it would be a great way to support it, is helping films like this get made.
I like rehashed horror stories that I'm familiar with.
I mean, I'm not going to lie, I enjoy a good number of those too. But
original, get out of here.
Get out of here. You ever seen a man yell at a pair of shoes? Get out of here. Yeah. So, if you'd like to help out there, that'd be great too. Also, if you want to listen to Outside the Cinema on YouTube, you can do that. I didn't even realize it until last week. I was going through our feed and cleaning some stuff up and realized that every episode was posting on YouTube twice.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think I fixed it for this week, so it'll only be the episodes will only show up once, but we do get some listeners over there, which is cool.
That's good.
Not full video versions of the show over there, just the audio with the thing. We could do, video versions of the show. We did it on and off for a while, but they don't really do anything better over there. So, I mean,
yeah, I'd have to run like a video thing to get clips of it going and keep it visually interesting instead of just our two dumb fucking heads sitting there.
Which we have. We have plenty of that. And that works great in short clip forms. Right. For like reels and like, we don't have a TikTok, but like on Instagram reels and like we could do like YouTube shorts and stuff. It works great there in like short 30 second to 1 minute clips or like, oh, those guys are funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you just have to look at us for an hour.
Well, when you fucking cherry pick it, we're hilarious.
Yeah. I find the one joke that hit.
I'll let you know when we get there on this show.
Yeah, I know, right? So yeah, I think that's it for housekeeping. We can get into the reviews for this week. What do you care which of these we start with? They're both.
Yeah, let's do the cat first. We'll do the cat first, right? I just want to get that one done because there's a lot of guest stars in the other one that I think we could spend time on.
Yeah. So the cat was 2011, if I'm not mistaken.
Sounds right.
Yes, 2011. And here's a trailer, I guess. You can listen to the trailer if you want. There it is.
피다니는요?
예뻐졌어요. 소연 씨.
얘 내가 좀 전에 염색해주는데?
방금 사고로 죽은 사람이 키우던 건데.
그 아줌마 죽을 때 옆에 있었던 거라며. 그럼 소연 씨 집에다 좀 놔두면 되겠네.
죽은 사람들 공통점이 있어요. 보이도 비단이 주인도 다 고양이 분양받고 죽었어요.
그게 다 고양이 때문이라고요?
Alrighty, The Cat from 2011, Korean film, original title. All right, God help me here. The retitle is just The Cat, but the original title is Go Hyang Ai Juk E Bu Nguyen Doi Gai Yue Nun. That's the original title. I don't know.
You tried, and that's all that matters.
Right. I mean, that was better than I thought I was going to do, to be honest. And I think the American distributor was just like, we're going to call it The Cat.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is Jesus Christ, man. This is directed by Seung-Wak Byeon. Only two two credits here. Something called Solace from 2006, which I don't believe we have seen. Nope, that does not look familiar. And The Cat, and no other credits here, which is interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So the story here, Park Min-young plays Soo-young. She works at a local pet store that also does a grooming services for dogs and for cats. We know that she's had a some sort of trauma in her life when she was younger that makes her very claustrophobic. We know that because we see her meeting her therapist and talking about things, and anytime she gets into a closed space, they make it very apparent that she's super, super uncomfortable. So she suffers from claustrophobia. We don't really get a whole lot of insight into what the traumatic incident was for her, and it really doesn't necessarily even play into it at the end of the day, but she works as a groomer at this pet shop.
Yeah.
So early on, we meet this cat called Silky, who she is giving the treatment to, and apparently, and I don't know if I'm too ignorant to this, I apologize. In Korea, apparently, people will dye the hair of their cats fairly regularly.
I've seen stuff on Instagram where they turn a poodle into a giraffe and stuff like that. So, yeah, you can dye the hair. There must be safe dyes, but maybe in 2011 there wasn't, and that's why they say, oh, it's just a dot, so they won't lick it.
Right. It's a little strange, but so this cat comes in. She dyes the cheeks of the cat pink. And
to be fair, though, that's an impressive small little touch, so we always know that's the cat we need to be looking at. It's
very
a
true.
Huge identifying mark that's so inconsequential. It's a good idea.
Very true. Yeah, very true. I actually didn't even really think of that. And she's very apologetic to the cat, and she's very gentle with the animals, and she's shown to be a very caring person, and they illustrate that through the way that she cares for these animals. In stark contrast to a number of other people that show up in the story. Yeah. Moving on. So this cat Silky she takes care of it. The owner comes back to pick the cat up. She's very pleased with the cat, the way the cat looks. But it was either later that day or the next day or something. The owner was taking the cat. I think it was just like on the way home.
On the way home, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she still had all her bags and stuff.
Yeah, so she had been shopping and stuff, and she brings the cat home, and she gets into the elevator with the cat, and things get weird, Chris, right?
Well, sure, yes. I'm not going to say that this is two movies mashed together with a short story I am thinking about, but yeah, something weird happens. Something strange in the neighborhood, if you want to say. And for this woman, don't look good.
No.
I think they better. I think they better call the fucking police because she's dead.
She's in the elevator with the cat. You get your creepy music, you get some weird reflections, and something happens, and the cat is involved, or the cat's not involved, or maybe it is, maybe there's a back and forth, man. And yeah, she dead.
Yeah, and then
she's dead.
Then you're thinking, hey, they did an elevator thing with a ghost in the eye.
They
okay,
did.
Anyway, moving on.
They did. But that's a Chinese movie. This is Korean.
It's still a ghost movie.
They're all ghost movies.
I know.
So Soo-yeon's walking home, and she comes across a guy that she went to school with who's now a cop that she had a crush on. He's holding the cat, and she basically says, she's like, I just groomed that cat earlier.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, the owner is dead.
Yeah, he's real good at breaking that news.
Yeah. So the scene essentially goes like this, obviously in Korean. Yeah, she's dead. Can you take this cat?
Yeah.
He's holding the cat. He's like, I don't know what to do with it. Can you take the cat? And she's like, Sure thing, hunky Korean police officer.
Yeah, who likes my sister and not me?
Right. Yeah. Well, you know,
Because that was in the conversation there too. That's the whole
yeah,
thing.
I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah. Does she ever ask about me? And when we meet the sister, she comes off as one of those popular, shallow, callous girls that are like, "Oh, really? He did something I said? Good."
Yeah.
When we
'cause-
see that the other sister is actually like the sweetest person, and but what we got to
it's
move
called a
the
little bit of character development.
yeah.
So-
yeah.
So she takes the cat because she's nice.
Yeah.
She does. She talks to the sister, and so she gets home with the cat, and things don't get weird immediately, but they do get weird kind of quickly. She like looks under the bed, and there's a set of eyes under the bed, and the cat gets kind of weird, but nothing too much. She gets a couple of like feeling like look over her shoulder, and we get like little glimpses of I mean, I'm not gonna say just the generic Asian ghost character, because she doesn't have like the really long stringy hair, and like she actually has this like tight little bob cut.
Yeah, but she looks like the girl from Silent Hill because she's wearing that kind of dress. So it's all pulled from all different places, which is fine if you arrange it in a unique way. And for me, I'll just put this right here. This was towing the line of ripoff or in the genre. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So so her friend wants to adopt a cat. And she's like, well, like you can't like take care of yourself. Why do you want to adopt a cat?
I love that she's so honest about
She's
it.
like, listen, she's like, how are you going to do that? And she's like, well, I think I want one to practice on.
That's what a serial killer says.
Yeah, right. So, but she wants to like do grooming and like dye the cats and stuff. So she's gonna get one. And what I love about the main character is she's just so a matter of fact of like, is that the best reason for you to get a cat?
Well, that she loves them. She really cares about them, and she knows what a bad owner can do.
Right,
And I like
exactly.
that. Because
So
she's not coming out and saying you're a bad person. She's just saying, I think maybe you're too focused on yourself and you can't focus on another life form that needs you.
And the reason that she's going to get the other life form is to better herself. It's not even like because she wants to have a cat to take care of or a pet to take care of.
Right. A companion, symbiotic relationship kind of thing, which is what you have an animal for. They make you feel good. You make them happy and give them a nice place to live.
So her and the friend go to this animal shelter to adopt.
That's
a cat.
a loose use of the term animal shelter.
Well, that's what they called it in the movie. That's the only reason I'm using that term.
Jesus Christ. It was Leatherface's killing shack out in the back.
Yeah.
It was like a dimly lit, I was going to say horse hangar because it's kind of like an airplane hangar in a horse arena with the curved, it feels like the curved roof and the, very utilitarian, not comforting.
Yeah. No, not comforting at all. And of course, the guy that works there is a fucking creepazoid and a half.
Yeah, he walked out of I Saw the Devil, I think.
Oh, maybe. I mean, yeah, he's a fucking creeper. So she chooses a cat and she goes, she looks at all the cats and like Suyeon is just like horrified. Horrified because there's like dead cats everywhere. Like just like in their cages, just dead. And she's like, hey, this one's dead, I think. Then she gets locked in there because the door shuts behind her.
Yeah.
It's I'm gonna be honest, it's pretty horrifying stuff, man. They do a really good job in this movie of like projecting how horrible a person is by the way they're treating the animals.
Yeah. I don't know why that place wasn't just like he wasn't arrested off the bat after they left the first time. Like,
Right.
that was allowed to still operate. Come on.
It was nuts.
And some of the some of the animal torture looked very real. The movie tells us no animals were harmed.
We did scare the shit out of some of them, but none of them were harmed.
Yeah. The always the putting the cat to sleep thing, that with the floppy neck, that's always kind of That always weirds me out. I know,
For
like,
sure, for sure.
anesthesia can do it to them, but it's just I've had too many cats, and I don't like that. I'm gonna side on I'm gonna err on the side of optimism and believe what they said at the end. But
and I
goddamn good job.
Yeah, I read a decent, well, maybe not a decent amount, but I read some stuff about this afterwards. One of the things that kept coming up was like how realistic it seemed, and a lot of people were like, "There's no way that like they didn't put some of these animals through some stuff." And I think there's definitely some points where they might have scared some of these animals, but everything I could find was that they were actually very careful with actually harming like any lasting harm. Because you're not going to get a cat to like pull the ears back and screech the way some of those were, unless they were like generally scared. But everything I found was like, hey, because you can't train a cat like you know what I mean. It's not like training a dog.
Right. There were definite times in this where they CG'd the cat's face to get a body reaction, because the ears flatten, it hisses, the front cheeks or whatever you want to call it, curl up, and the rest of the body was just kind of sitting there. If it's gonna do that, the front legs are gonna stiffen, it's gonna arch its back, the tail's gonna go straight so it can use it for balance when it has to move. And like, then there was the green screen of it walking across the sidewalk when she was sitting at the tree, and you could tell it was green screened, and you're like, well, that's because there's a busy street right there and they're not going to let a cat run around. Right. So it was the small things that I could see that led me to believe it was all up and up, because you don't CG a cat's face if you can,
right?
And
some of the CG looked pretty good. Some of it not as much, but there was some that actually I was like, wow, considering I saw like a really shitty CGI part towards the beginning, and then the like next one was pretty good, and I was like, oh, did they just hire like two people and one of them was good at it and one of them wasn't? Because like a pretty stark difference. But I will say overall, really incredible presentation with the animals and the mix of using real animals, using the CG animals, and then also just like great sound usage. Very convincing that, to the point where we were all like, I think there was definitely some animals that were fucked with in this. And I honestly, I mean, maybe, but I couldn't say for sure. And they made a point to be like, hey, listen, there was no animals harmed in this. So very effective, very strong. So anyway, so her friend adopts this cat. Boom, dead. She's dead. Yeah, found dead.
Yeah.
Done.
Oh,
what are you going to do?
The worst thing, and it was early in the movie, before I forget, the first time you see the silhouette of the ghost kid in the window, right? It's very subtle, but we know we're watching a ghost movie, so we're like, there it is. And after, the kid's handprint comes up as frost on the window, and it sounded like Sub-Zero used all of his ice power on a great lake all at once. It wasn't like the little crystal noise you get, from like a friggin' Disney Christmas movie or something. It was the ice is breaking, fucking run.
Yeah, right? Right?
And I'm like, oh shit, if they got that wrong, what am I in for? But just a bad level. That's all it was. If it was quiet, it would have been better.
Yeah. So her friend is now passed away. The old lady had passed away, and she's seeing this ghostly girl, and the cat's being real fucking weird. And then she's like, I got to get rid of the cat. So she just tries to like leave the cat somewhere. But
yeah,
if you've heard the song, the cat came back the very next day. And here, so to this point, I've actually quite enjoyed this movie. I'm like impressed with the use of the animals. I think it's setting a nice tone in terms of the way like it's enough creep factor to keep you guessing. You haven't been given too much information. And then I'm going to be honest, for me, it starts to fall apart when they start to actually tell you kind of what's going on. And it all makes sense, but at the same time, there's this, without spoiling anything, something bad happened to this little girl, obviously. But when you kind of find out what actually happened and then the vengeance that she's taking on people through the cats, but not really through the cats, it kind of doesn't really make much sense. Am I wrong there? Did I just read it wrong? Did I read it wrong?
No, I honestly did lose interest when they started to try to explain why it was happening, because I've seen The Ring. I don't give a shit about that. You know, how do you solve the problem? I don't care about the backstory. If a fucking ghost is chasing me, I don't want to know why it's a ghost. You know?
Right. Yeah.
Fix it. Fix the problem. I mean, they could have just stumbled across the girl's body and that would have been fine. You know?
Yeah.
There were just so many. It was stupid.
Yeah, they added a grandmother character, and then they added a father, and then they added the cats that were there, and then where the cats came from, and then there was the guy that ran the building, and then it was just too much coming in at once. And I think the most effective, especially Asian horror movies, the most effective ones are the ones that keep it simple.
Yeah.
Right? Haunted videotape. Okay. The water's black. Black water. All right.
Yep.
Like,
what would have made this easy if like the father was abusing her and the cat, and they were the only two that understood each other, and they had that bond, and they both died at the same time with the cat trying to defend the kid against the father, and he kills them.
Right.
There you go. Vengeance.
Yeah, because once this girl, you realize what happened to this girl, and you're like, she's taking a very violent, murderous vengeance for a mistake.
Yeah.
Like a very sad, very sad mistake was made, and she ends up passing away because of it. But it wasn't like she was like murdered, or like not to, I mean, I guess minor spoilers, but it's not like she got murdered, or like, as you said, like the father was beating her, or like something horrible was happening. They were torturing the cat. Like, then none of that. It's like she comes out with this vengeance and kills a whole bunch of people. Like, and I'm just kind of like, why? Like,
yeah, and it didn't even.
This should be sad, not angry.
Yeah, it didn't even play into the whole, people show who they really are by how they treat animals or whatever, It was implied, but it never really came together in any satisfying way.
Yeah, and then it just kind of ends. It just kind of like it comes to an end. It comes to the logical end that it should.
Yeah.
But is what it is. All
yeah.
right, so I guess we could probably grade here. Hold on, let me see what I could find. Chris, do you recommend, and what is your grade for The Cat?
Well, a couple weeks ago, we reviewed a movie where a topless woman fired laser beams out of her hands in a fever dream of a movie ending. That movie is the only one where I have a legitimate complaint about the ending.
Okay.
Because that was just batshit crazy out of nowhere. This one, the ending suffers from being bland. And I'm not interested. I don't even really remember, except the kid fell. Because I don't want to know anymore, because I'm done with the movie. However, even though it's a ripoff of The Grudge and The Ring and has a little bit of the Cats of Ulthar in it, just the bones of it, like no one shall harm a cat and that kind of thing.
Right.
Just it's a C. It's a middle range. It's a better looking film, I think, than say how The Grudge looks, because that's like a videotape kind of look, right?
Yep.
So this looks really nice. It's not a bad one to start with this kind of Asian ghost movie. But if you come to this after The Grudge and The Ring and all of the big heavy hitters, then this is just going to be like cinema filler for March. So yeah, a disinterested recommend and a C.
It's interesting. Okay. All right.
Yeah. I'm not going to ever recommend this to somebody in person, but because I'm being asked, yeah, yeah, it's fine. The lead actress is actually really good.
Yeah, I'm pretty on board with that. I think I liked it more than you did, though. It's a tepid recommend. It's if you're really into kind of like the atmosphere of Korean horror films, like the stuff like specifically the Korean stuff like Tale of Two Sisters or even like some of the other Chan-Woo Park stuff. Like it's got that very Korean feel to it, and I feel like the Korean horror is got a very distinct feel in comparison to stuff like The Eye or Ringu or any of the Japanese or Chinese or other, or even the what the hell was the there was that R Point, which I think was it a Filipino movie or was it no, it's Thailand. Sorry. Like those have a different feel than the Korean films. I feel like the Korean films are very specific in their feel and their look, and it looks great. It's shot very well. Like it doesn't look like, I mean, I don't know what they shot it on, but like it doesn't have like a real expensive look to it. But they really make the most of the lighting and the feel. The use of the cats in the shots. Like it looks great. Good soundtrack all through. Where it does fall apart though is the ending is going to fall a little flat, I think, if you're actually paying attention to what's going on. Yeah. Because when you start to break it down, and if you've never seen, like you kind of like you said, if you've seen those other movies, but if you've never seen an Asian horror film or specifically a Korean horror film, it might not hit you the way that it hit us. Whereas we've seen a bunch of this stuff, and I'm like, hey, listen, from what I know from a lot of the films from this area, this is usually not the way it goes. Yeah. Vengeance is a very specific thing, and this doesn't line up with a lot of that stuff that I've been I've learned through watching other films from the region.
Right. Hey, you know what would have been a better idea? If she was killed defending the cat from her angry father.
Yes. Yeah. Or like
that's even simpler.
Yeah. They were trying. I mean, it comes down to, again, minor spoiler. They're just like the cats were infesting the basement of the apartment building, and people are like, we got to get them out of here because they're so loud and they're breeding. So they're trying to get rid of them, and then she, ends up getting killed in the process by accident.
Yeah, they should have used.
She doesn't get killed; she dies, but she's not murdered or anything.
Yeah, they should have used that monkey knockout gas they had in Community.
Yeah, the monkey knockout gas. Speaking of Community, we'll get to one of the stars of Community momentarily. So I'm going to. What'd you give it for a grade?
C. It's just absolutely mediocre.
I'll give it a C, but I think it's a little bit better than mediocre because it looks good. It's well put together. It's well written. The main actress does a great job.
Yeah, it is. All of them really do a pretty decent job because we really do hate that guy that runs that animal shelter.
Oh yeah, and when he gets his comeuppance and the way he gets his comeuppance, like this is pretty good. This is pretty good. So, there you go. There you go. The Cat. That's available to watch in the United States on Tubi. Is where you can watch that in the United States. So, all right, next up, Bad Milo from 2012. This is an all-star cast of some of your favorites. It's an interesting take on a horror comedy / black comedy thing. So here, take a listen to a trailer.
What is it? You got a thing in your butt. This lump in your colon is due to poor stress management.
We love seeing you guys, but we want grandkids.
You gotta learn to relax.
It's been a crazy couple of weeks at work.
I just want you to be straight with them.
Hey, you want me to fire this guy today?
You'll do fine.
Oh, again with your damn stomach. Shut up and eat your damn dinner, son. I hate you.
Logan, I'm pregnant.
Ancient myth. When you are pushed into a corner by someone,
Looking on your computer, I think I may have deleted something important.
What?
this creature comes out and attacks that someone. This thing is a part of you.
What are you talking about?
It's a metaphor.
This is the furthest thing from a metaphor.
Oh my God, what is this?
Wow. Stomach flu?
Yeah.
Where are you? I'm knocking, but no one's home.
we do?
Bond with it.
And if I do, then it won't hurt anybody else.
Hopefully.
Milo?
Milo? I had a much better name.
I don't love you anymore. Don't you understand that?
Bad Milo. All right. Directed by Jacob Vaughn, produced by the Duplass brothers. Jacob Vaughn, what else has he done? Let's see here. All right, then. Dead Silent, the TV show. The Cassidy Kids. And that really kind of looks like it. A couple of shorts, some other stuff. Not a lot on the resume there, surprisingly enough, because this is a powerhouse in terms of like indie filmmaker, film talent.
Yeah.
You got Ken Marino, Jillian Jacobs, Patrick Warburton, Mary Kay Place, Toby Huss, Peter Stormare, Kumail Nanjiani,
Nanjiani. Yeah.
Nanjiani.
Yeah.
Just a whole bunch of faces of people that you know.
Yeah.
This is interesting though, because it's a story about a guy who has these incredibly bad stomach pains.
Yeah.
That manifest themselves as a demon that lives in his intestines and comes out through his butt.
Yes.
Sounds like a laugh riot, right?
It should be.
For the most part, it's played pretty straight as a horror film.
Yes.
It's definitely more serious in tone. I mean, there's definitely some laughs in it to be had. But like it's played pretty serious, which I was super surprised by after watching it. You?
Yeah. No, it's a weird mix of stuff that like Land of the Lost didn't get the ratio right. And they made a movie for kids with adult jokes in it. This, they made a gory movie with age appropriate humor. So it worked. It was a little shocking, some of the kills, but that is the point, because his stress and anxiety are so bad that they have to go out and take care of the problem. And it's got to be violent, right? So
right. For sure.
Yeah.
So I love Ken Marino. Huge fan.
Captain CJ. TJ.
Yeah,
Captain TJ.
Captain TJ. If he's my favorite character from Wet Hot American Summer. Abby, wait for me. Man, I fucking love that movie.
I'm glad he's finally getting more attention. He's really funny. Party Down should have done better than it did. And
did you watch the new season?
No, I haven't got to it yet.
Yeah, I love the original Party Down. I haven't watched the new season yet. I read a bunch of stuff that was like, maybe don't watch it. So I don't know. But
yeah,
either
sometimes
way,
you just can't get that back. Sometimes it's just too late.
Yeah,
that's all right. That's all right.
So, I mean, this is a very simple story. Ken Marino plays. He works at it. He plays a guy named Duncan. His wife is Jillian Jacobs. Sarah. Community is probably what she's best known from.
Yep.
Patrick Warburton's his boss. He works at this big firm. Nameless, kind of faceless accounting firm. He's an accountant, but like his boss basically steps all over him because he's a nice guy, and he does whatever the boss makes him do, all the shit work, so that he doesn't have to deal with it. So the film opens essentially with Ken Marino's character, like,
but by shit work, you don't mean like the menial jobs. Like, no. We're introduced to Warburton's character as he's about to lay off the entire company, basically, and he's put in charge of the layoffs, but he's like a portfolio manager or accountant and stuff. So that's the kind of shit jobs that we're not talking like, hey, you got to go restock the bathroom. It's way worse than that.
Yeah. So we know that he's been to the doctor. They think he's got a polyp of some sort in his intestines. That's the reason why he's having so many stomach issues. But we come to find out he's having the stomach issues anytime he's put into like really bad stress situations, which is people get ulcers from stress.
Yeah, I was going to say kind of like an ulcer. Yeah.
But there's a moment where he basically, so he's put into that situation where he's got to lay off all these people. They move his office to an abandoned bathroom.
Yeah.
And they put him in the bathroom with another guy who's like the most annoying guy in the office.
Oh,
Like,
he's Garrett from Community, and I was so happy to see him because he doesn't do a lot, and he's really funny.
Right.
He's got that one character that he does, but his stand-up is really great too. So anyway.
So they're in the office has been moved to this bathroom that's not in service. Yeah. And the dude says to him, he goes, "Do you think these toilets still work?" And Ken Marino just looks at him like, why? And he goes, "Save us a lot of time. We wouldn't have to go up the hall." And in my head, the first thing I said was like, how many times a day do you go to the bathroom that would and also, don't you want to get up and move around at some point? Like,
but some movies would just leave that as a joke. There is a point later where he's like, "Duncan."
He calls him.
The toilets are not operational.
He calls him and he goes, "I got two things.
Yeah.
One, the toilets are not operational."
But he does it in that panicked, angry Garrett voice that he has, and it's awesome. It's really fun.
The toilets are not operational, and I may have deleted something important. I was on your computer.
Now, that is 100% his fault. Your most important client, you don't have a backup. You don't back that thing up to 3 different online backup places
I back my shit up to everything.
Have copies in your pocket of everything. Right. Like if it's So
But he decides that he's going to have to go into the office. And they had just had a really horrible dinner with his mother and her new lover.
A very physical conversation. A conversation about physicality between the mother and the Eternal. So
I love he's like, "You can call me Dad, Duncan." And he's like, "I'm 5 years older than you."
Yeah.
Oh man, and then the guy that plays the doctor. So they're like his mother is like, "We want to have grandkids." So she brings in this fertility doctor who I thought was Buster from Arrested Development. And it wasn't.
No.
This other guy, he's been in a whole bunch of stuff too. And they just start talking about like male infertility with him, and he's just like, "I don't understand why we're having this conversation." He's like, I don't understand any of this.
Yeah, because it's the parent, because I'm not counting Kumail. They're not trying, Britta and Captain TJ. They're not trying to have a kid right now. They're actually in the middle of arguing about whether or not they should, and he is against it because things are not at a point where he feels comfortable doing it.
Yeah. So basically, he had a shit upbringing with his dad. His dad is Lynn Boyle.
Yeah. Yeah.
And is basically like, my dad. He's like, he had the fear of like, my dad sucked. How can I be a good parent?
Yeah. And that's I think that's what every person that ends up being a good parent says. Because if you don't think about it,
question it. Yeah.
If you don't think about it, then you gotta question yourself. Am I actually? If I think I'm doing a good job, maybe I ought to check.
Well, I didn't have the greatest parents, so therefore I'm like, how can I? It's actually quite good. This movie's actually very well written for like a movie about a butt demon.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So he gets home after getting the phone call from Garrett.
Yeah.
And he goes into the bathroom, and Jillian Jacobs' character is so funny because she immediately takes her sleeping pills.
Yeah.
And puts her earplugs in because she says like something,
Oh, she says, is this a 10-minute or a half hour? And he says something. He says, I don't know, or just go to bed. And she's like, I love you. But that's a marriage. That's what it is. That stuff. So it's like it was kind of real.
Yeah. So he goes in there and passes out from the pain of going to the bathroom, and this is the first time Milo appears. We don't actually see him at this point.
Right.
He is labeled by the news as a rabid raccoon. They went to they got into this office and killed the guy.
Yeah.
Things are amped up because every time someone pisses him off, he gets a phone call from the fertility doctor in what is the most outlandishly inappropriate conversation I've ever heard from a doctor.
Oh, yeah.
The doctor says to him, he goes, listen, Duncan, you got a really hot wife there. And if you don't put a baby in her soon, somebody else is going to.
It took me a minute, actually, to remember who he was talking to, because I didn't think that guy was going to feature again in the movie. I thought he was just a one-off joke.
He definitely shows up again.
A bunch, yeah.
Yeah, well, because he's murdered right after this. So.
Yeah, but he has a bunch of scenes there.
And he's out with it. I thought he was out back with a prostitute, but like, it's never really explained because he performs the oral sex on her.
Yes.
And then he's like, all right, my turn. And she's like, nope, I don't do that. And she leaves.
And that's a great role reversal, which,
awesome.
I really like, yeah.
So he gets murdered. Then we find out that the boss at the company has stolen all the money.
Yep.
Meanwhile, we got Peter Stormare there who's playing the therapist. And I like him in general, and he's always so good at playing an evil character. But I love when he gets to play like just kind of like a weird eccentric character.
Yeah.
Because he's always so good at it.
Yeah. In the movie Clown, he had this almost the same kind of role where he knew the lore of the creature, and it's almost the same character, the way he's like talking about it and acting, and it was actually very easy to slip right into believing his character. So yeah, I thought that was good. I think Armageddon might have been the first movie I saw him in.
Yeah, I liked him in Constantine too. He played the devil in Constantine. Right?
Absolutely, best devil. Yeah.
So as things kind of get haywire for Duncan, he tries to go and talk to his dad, but his dad just shuts down. And it's interesting because you do see the behavior. Duncan, when he's faced with this, he does the same thing his dad did. Turns and runs away.
Yeah.
Leaves the wife and is like, listen, I can't be around you right now. No like explanation. So like the whole abandonment thing comes back. And it's an interesting story, and it's actually quite well layered for something that just seems so stupid on the surface.
Yeah.
And I don't want to give a whole lot away because I don't actually hear this movie talked about a whole heck of a lot. You can currently watch it on Hulu in the States. I'm not sure where else it's available in the other parts of the world, but I don't hear it talked about very much. And what I really liked about it was that it's a very stupid concept on its, a demon that lives in your intestines that comes out through your butt and kills people that have wronged you. But like, there's actually a bit of a touching element to it, and like, there's real life decisions that are made, and it's actually I was really surprised. And the Duplass brothers, they're good, man. Like, they're real good.
Yeah.
Because Creep is another one of those movies that they had a hand in and actually directed it. And it's just really interesting, like, because that's got some depth to it that you really wouldn't expect. And then it's like, and then in the sequel, when you kind of like get a little bit deeper into it, they know what they're doing.
Yeah. I saw an interview with him once, and he's Mark, and he said, just make movies. That's it. That's what we do. We have a story. We like it. We make it. If it's good, it's good. If not, we learn from it and we go on, and we just keep going. We just keep making stuff. So I love that they try all these different kind of things. That's great. You never know what you're gonna get with them. And
he also killed it on Celebrity Wheel of Fortune.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah,
killed it. So I mean, this movie, it's shot well. It's a lower independent feature, but like it's shot really well. It's written really well. The acting is obviously top notch in it. I love the scene when he goes to visit the father and Milo comes out while he's in the outhouse, and like they're both just covered in shit. And
for a decent portion of the movie.
Yeah. And at some point I'm like, why hasn't this dude changed his shirt yet? Like,
yeah, because that's the level of his self-esteem, isn't it?
There's a point he walks at the point when we find out that the his work is gone under and the FBI is raiding it because the boss stole all the money. He walks in the door, and as he walks in the door, you hear somebody go, "Oh, what the hell is that smell?"
Yeah. And that was actually the first point where he sort of went against what his boss said, because he wanted to pull him on Arrested Development, take the money out of the pension fund to pay debts or whatever. but everything else had been drained as well. And he says to him, I need you to move this money. And he says, that's illegal. And that was the first time he actually questioned anything. So
and then when he has the conversation with him at the elevator, and Warburton just like basically just totally belittles him. He's like, see, I'm a winner and you're a loser conversation. And this is why I'm always going to succeed and you never will. And then he ends up dead like 2 seconds later.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's good comeuppance.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the fact that the police weren't really involved, because once you involve the police, then it turns into something else.
Well,
so yeah.
Button I wanted to hang on. I hit the wrong one. I hit the wrong one. Nope, that's not it either. Nope.
It's something.
Nope, that's not it.
It's his first
failure. Mission failure.
Sure.
All right, do you recommend, and what is your grade for Bad Milo?
Yeah, I'm going to recommend this. I intentionally skipped this because I actually thought from the poster that it was Ray Romano.
Oh, gross. That would have been terrible.
Yeah. Oh, I got a demon coming out of my ass. I don't know what to do. Oh, hey, fuck that. I wasn't down for that. But then I watched, I got the girls in here. I'm like, look at this piece of shit I got to watch this week. And I played the trailer and I'm like, wait a minute. Britta? Garrett, what the fuck? And then we watched the trailer and I'm like, all right, here's what's going to happen. It's his anxiety and stress, and he's not going to be able to kill it, but he's going to have to learn to live with it. And then that's the movie.
Pretty much.
I'm like, his stress and anxiety can't control him. It has to turn around. And they're using obvious visual metaphors for that, but it doesn't feel as patronizing as a Blomkamp film with the messaging, because they turned it into sort of a funny joke. And I think that goes a long way.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's not made out of poop actually gives that like 50 more points in my book.
Huge. It's a huge, like...
It would have been too easy because, all this shit is it's shit inside you that's causing the stress, blah, blah, blah. But it wasn't. And we haven't said anything about this yet. Milo is actually pretty good.
Yeah,
as a character.
Not bad.
Big things for me. When it blinked, it was believable. It was fast motors on the eyes, and it was professionally done. It was well done. A decent amount of articulation, a bunch of green screening with the puppet. And because the puppet was so good, I am going to forgive the entire CG blood splatter scene when Garrett was killed. Yeah. Because that was bad.
Yeah, it was.
But Milo and any other things that needed to be puppeteered were done pretty well. So I will recommend this because I think, if you can laugh at a mental health issue that you yourself have, and then it helps you go and get help for it, that's always good. And I'm sure this movie's going to help somebody be like, I got to get this under control.
Yeah, I know.
But it's not serious. It's a serious message, but it's done in a fun way with a bunch of great actors I don't get to see in a lot of stuff. So that's it. And I'm going to give it a B+.
Cool. Very high grade. I enjoyed this a lot. So I'm definitely going to give it a recommend. I know it sounds like a silly premise, but it's really executed very, very well. My favorite scene, though, we didn't mention it, was when Milo was chasing Sarah and she goes down to the basement and locks herself in the basement and turns the light on, and of course it's like the wicked kinky sex room with the mother's kinky sex room with like the swing and like dildos everywhere.
Yeah.
And there's a part where Milo gets down there and she fights Milo off by just throwing dildos at it.
Yeah. Which is kind of funny because sex does release dopamine, which would relieve stress.
There you go.
I don't think it was by accident, just for a joke. I think it all works together.
Yeah, it's funny though. Yeah, no, this was really good, man. I thought it was very well written. It was smart the way it was played, and just like you, like these are almost every actor in this is an actor that I just love. I like getting to see Ken Marino be the star of the show because he's usually the extra guy, like he's the supporting cast, and he's killer at that. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah,
or he's like he works best usually when he's like a member of an ensemble cast. Which is why his part in Wet Hot American Summer is so good. But this is great. He carries the film no problem. He's likable. He's it's good. It's a good film. I'm gonna give it a B, straight B. Definitely worth checking out though. Definitely worth. Check it out. Oh, I already muted it.
Yep, and it's not about a poop monster. So
it's not about a poop monster. I have a couple other ones here. We get to use this one. Like the transition to moving on to the next thing.
Well, that's not bad. I like that.
Speaking of moving on to the next thing, we're making Joe watch the Scary Movie series.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh
so
boy.
Let's see. I said to him, because he sent me a text message. It was like Scary Movie with a bunch of question marks, and my response is just basically like, I'm really curious to see just how problematic the films are now because I'm willing to bet they're very, very problematic.
Yeah.
Oh, did I mute something I shouldn't have?
Maybe Joe?
Didn't this happen last week too? This happened last week when I tried to play.
How did you fix it though?
That's a great question. I don't
remember.
All right, hold on. Oh, here we go. Okay.
Chris and hello OTC Nation.
There it is.
It's your boy Joe here, and this week Bill took me to one of the nameless, small, cute, quaint little California towns that all the horror movies in the early 2000s were set in. He made me watch Scary Movie. I'm not going to say I'm in uncharted waters here in the catalog of movies that Bill has made me watch, because I'm sure he's made me watch a comedy movie at some point in the last... How long have I been doing this? 6 years?
Yeah, something
7?
like that. 6, 7, yeah.
Like there had to be a comedy film in there somewhere. And by that, I mean a movie that was intended to be a comedy.
Oh,
not a movie that
fair.
somebody tried to make good, but did, a goofy bad job.
Yeah.
Like, I love to watch Miami Connection and laugh, but it's not a comedy. I'm about to find out if Scary Movie still is, or if it just was. I remember seeing it in the theaters and finding it funny, but time has a way of removing the polish on those things. Mm-hmm. While maybe not the first comedy Bill has made me watch, I believe this is the first true parody film. Not a new concept when they made Scary Movie, but every generation finds the things it likes until they've been given so much of it that the only recourse they have as an audience is for someone to make something that makes fun of that thing. I actually don't think Scream gave people too much. I think it came on huge and then fizzled out just as big, at least until those last two Screams. But it started that whole new wave of late 90s, early 2000s horror. Yet, sometime in 1999, the Wayans brothers used Scream as the platform to make fun of the entire resurgence of horror in the late 90s and spawned... Just go look at Tubi and see how many ultra-low-budget fucking parody comedy movies there are. Stan Helsing, epic movie, disaster movie, not another teen movie. All of those ones with 8 movies in the title, like Don't Be a Menace to South Central While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood.
That's a great one, though.
I like that movie. And
That's
maybe
a good
the
title.
worst offender of all, and a strong contender for the legit worst movie I've ever seen in my life, and that includes absolutely
Date movie.
everything that Bill has ever made me watch or ever will make me watch. Meet the Spartans.
Oh,
Yes.
all right.
Yes.
Yeah,
I messaged Bill to inquire about what made him choose Scary Movie, and one of the main points was to see how it holds up over time. Well, the Miramax logo just popped up, so off the bat, there's number 1. While I doubt that Harvey Weinstein had much to do with the making of this film, that simple logo put at least just a little bit of a mushroom stamp on this thing already.
Like a
It opens up
bell
with a
end.
sped up beat for beat of the opening of Scream with Drew Barrymore, except now it's Carmen Electra, who's like if chlamydia was a person.
Oh.
This whole opening was like if you showed an enthusiastic college improv team the opening to Scream and asked them to parody it, And then you just included literally every fucking joke that any one of the kids throws out. Like, no edits, just go. Jokes and jokes and jokes and jokes and jokes. Quick question.
Yep.
Was this Anna Faris's first thing? Like, she's perfect in this movie as a stand-in for Nev Campbell's Sydney from Scream. Like, Anna Faris is one of those actors who I like, but I can't really put a finger on, like, why or how or explain it in any way. I
agree with that. I agree.
So 23-year-old Joe thought this movie was very funny. It's rapid fire comedy in the vein of like Airplane or Naked Gun, but obviously done in the Wayans style of comedy. By that I mean the jokes that hit very well. It's just that it takes them 30 tries and 10 minutes to get there. Okay, I know I just talked about Anna Faris, but she's the glue of this film, and the smartest decision anyone made in the entire production of this film was casting her. They took a chance on an unknown, and it paid off in a movie that I haven't laughed at once in this viewing, but somehow I'm still enjoying. The other good thing about this movie is the supporting cast. Rick Dukeman came over from The Burbs to play Cindy's dad. Underrated SNL cast member Sherry O'Terry takes over Courtney Cox's role as the reporter, and Kurt Fuller as the sheriff. They're all journeyman comedy actors, and they deliver these like juvenile, really bad jokes like pros, and the whole movie's kind of elevated for their presence. Juvenile is a great way to describe this. It feels like it was written by a group of 15-year-old kids who have just discovered weed. That's not even me dunking on the movie. I was an immature 15-year-old at one time, as we all were. Like, at 15, this is exactly the kind of movie my friends and I would have made. Except there probably would have been a lot more boobs in it. Dated would also be a very good way to describe Scary Movie. They just spent 5 minutes of an entire film recreating the "What's up" Budweiser commercial.
Yeah. Oh
Think
my
about
God.
that. Think about how much it takes to film 5 minutes of a major, like, SAG production. They had electricians and set dressers and actors and all the tech crew, the film crew, hell, even catering.
They had to mold a new mask
that day to film a joke that was on the cusp of being outdated by the time they finished shooting it, much less edited and released.
Yeah.
The best joke of the film is honestly the only subtle joke of the film. There's that one scene in Scream after they give you the red herring of Billy being the killer, when it turns out in the end he actually is, but he's kind of proven innocent. And Nev Campbell gets all flustered with Billy and runs away. And all due respect to Nev Campbell, I don't know, she might have some kind of condition, but the way she runs was fucking hysterical. Anna Faris recreated that shit with like just the right level of exaggeration, and it was maybe the only time I laughed during this.
Okay.
As far as how problematic this might have become in the last 23 years, I mean, there's homophobic jokes and trans jokes and fat jokes, and 2/3 of this movie absolutely would not play today. But as a wise man once said, it be like that sometimes. Anytime you watch a movie from over 20 years ago, you have to know going in that you're going to see something that is offensive by modern standards. It's just part of the thing. Go watch the Monster Squad and see how many times they drop the F-bomb.
Yeah, there's a few in there.
The other F word, the much, much worse F word. Here's the good. Even with socially outdated jokes, nothing in this feels too mean-spirited. By year 2000 standards, this was just good fun having. The bad, oh, it is just rapid fire. Joke, 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 joke. Is any of this funny? I don't know. How do we cover it up? More jokes. Joke, 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 joke. Pass, fail, Scary Movie does pass. It's still cute, and it reminds you of how nothing was really bad in the few years leading up to a certain event in 2001 that kind of made everything after it an unending series of bummers that serve only to keep you in a low-level daze of just hold on, maintain, and keep your head down.
Is that the release of Ali?
Boy, that ended on a down note, didn't it? If I remember, Scary Movie 2 is the best in the series, so I will try my damnedest to bring it up back next week. Until then, Joke, 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 joke. Be good, everyone.
I would love to talk about how parody died in the early 2000s.
Did it die or was it murdered?
Oh, it was a brutal premeditated murder. However, it was parody was it rose from the dead in the form of our Lord and Christ, Black Dynamite.
Ah, yes.
That's how you make a fucking parody movie.
And
that's the white version of a blaxploitation theme.
Scott continues to tell me, like almost every week, well, Chris was a little bit louder than you. Okay.
Does he not understand that's real life?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But yeah, every week there's still something weird. Sometimes Chris will get distorted. Sometimes Bill, you'll get messed up when my segment's on. Like, okay, dude, believe me, I absolutely appreciate the feedback. But sometimes when I'm like to the point where I'm like, dude, there's nothing I can do about it. Just accept it.
He heard you.
No.
He definitely sent me a text message this week that was like, yeah, other than the issues you had with the sound clips at the beginning of the show, it sounded pretty good.
What?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
With Reverend Scott.
Attention. I spent a bunch of money on this and it doesn't work correctly.
Hey there, Bill and Chris.
Are you John Smith?
No, I'm Reverend Scott. And I want you to think really hard. What are you listening to right now?
Holy shit. In my head. Holy shit.
That wasn't really in your head there, Chris, but irregardless, let's talk about some movie reviews that you guys did. Then maybe I'll tell you a bit about what cool show I've been watching lately. I know it's not a new movie, but that's just what I've been watching. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, this feels weird.
Tough shit. So I first heard you review Manitou. What is Manitou?
What is the Manitou, you ask?
Yeah, that is probably the first question.
Indeed. And of course, I know already what it is, but how about you remind the other listeners, Bill?
It's the reincarnation of a 400-year-old demonic Native American medicine man. And it grows from a fetus on the back of a woman's neck for no apparent reason.
Oh, there's a reason. So it could be born into the world, and then it can terrorize Tony Curtis.
Hetero sex symbol Tony Curtis.
Sorry, hetero sex symbol Tony Curtis. And I can see why he might be terrorized by this thing. It sounds pretty terrifying, to be honest.
A quarter-size version of the Zuni fetish doll.
I mean, I don't want to kink shame. If that's your fetish, that's cool. I'm not going to judge.
Really?
So I give Manitou a C+, and I give the review a B- or something.
It is what it is.
You probably don't even really care because all you're thinking about right now is the glove. As is your right to do so. I could tell you were both very excited about this movie right off the bat, but that was short-lived.
So I was expecting hot gloved action. Did not get much of it.
Because even though the whole movie is about a guy with the glove trying to enact his own revenge, at least to me, it just never seemed very intimidating. I really doubt people saw that rejected Quidditch equipment and said,
oh shit, the glove.
But at the end of the day, it seemed like the glove did a little bit more for both of you than you ever imagined it would. Maybe it was just because there was no back-to-back rape scenes in it.
No forcible sexual intercourse on this week's show, thank God.
No, just a song.
Just forcible. Wait, what's the song?
It was the song to the glove.
You should know I'm the glove. Steel-plated bandits coming at your face.
No, you can't escape from the kiss and rape of the glove. No, you can't escape from the kiss and rape of the glove.
That's close.
It wasn't far off.
That sounds pretty amazing. So I give The Glove a B+, and I give the review a B+ as well. Okay, enough about those shitty movies. Let's talk about what I've been watching lately. And if you don't want to,
tough shit.
And this week, it's not a movie, and it's not even new. It's a long-time running show from 2011 called Suits. Imagine House MD, but instead of a know-it-all rude doctor, it's a lawyer named Harvey Specter. Harvey is every bit the slick, overly confident, always winning, cocky lawyer that he looks like he is. And he has a young protege that has almost literally stumbled his way into a high-dollar defense firm. A firm that only typically hires the best of the best from Harvard grads. During a massive interview session at a hotel, the protege Harvey ends up hiring is Mike Ross, a young guy that can remember virtually anything he reads nearly instantly. Not only that, but he understands the information as well.
It's fucking crazy, right?
So well does he understand this information, in fact, that he's taken the LSATs for other students to get them into Harvard. For money, of course. He's even passed the bar. So Harvey gives Mike a job, despite the fact that Mike Ross never actually went to Harvard. Hell, he's never even graduated from college at all.
Seems like that shouldn't happen.
No, it shouldn't.
So not only are you watching them fight interesting and tricky cases from week to week and saying snarky and funny things, you're always on the lookout for Mike's secret to get exposed.
Ooh, dun 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 dun.
Add in a cast of memorable, fun characters like Donna, the snarky, smart secretary for Harvey, Jessica, the ever-watchful managing partner, and Lewis, the total asshole lawyer with a weakness for theater. But deep down, he's a nice guy.
No, he's terrible.
He's terrible.
Heck, there's even Rachel, the paralegal, played by Megan, the Duchess of Sussex. Yes, that Megan.
Wow, holy shit.
There's just so much more to love in this show that I don't even have time to talk about it all. And I'm only in season 1 of a 9-season run.
Wow, holy shit.
So I guess I'll keep on watching Suits on Amazon Prime until it starts to go steeply downhill and I can confidently say,
they just blew it.
Or shit, maybe I'll finish the whole thing and think,
okay, yeah, perfect. Yeah, perfect.
Who knows? But you'll know when I do. But for now, that's all I have to say. But make sure you tune in to Outside the Cinema next time when Bill becomes the master of his new mixer features.
I don't see, like out of nowhere, it just starts.
I don't know. That's a different matter. There's no reason why that should have started.
And then it doesn't let me turn it off.
Bill and Chris reminisce about the time they saw hetero-sex symbol Tony Curtis in Manitou.
It's fucking wacky.
It is.
It is really wacky, yeah.
And finally, Chris experiences a terrible penis injury.
Oh, that's broken.
All that and so many more penis injuries. But until then, peace and love, guys. Outside the Cinema.
Yeah, all right. Hey, anything else? Is the show over yet?
God, I hope so.
Yes! We did it, Chris.
Yeah?
We did it. Me and you together. We did it.
What do we do?
We do it again next week.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Guys, thanks for listening. Head over to Facebook and join our Facebook group. Just go into group search Outside the Cinema. You can follow Chris and I on Instagram at OTCBill, at Cthulhu. Join the Patreon, though, if you want to support the show. Patreon.com/Outside the Cinema. That's the best way to support the show, for sure. I don't know what we're doing next week. I'll figure it out at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah. Everybody enjoy their week, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Surrounded by secret boyfriends, petty jealousies,